This is Philip Blackwell, pastor of the Bible Baptist Church in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And we're glad that you've tuned in today to one of our Bible messages. The sermon that you're about to hear was preached behind the pulpit of our church at one of our regularly scheduled services. We pray that the Lord speaks to your heart as you listen.
Preaching a sermon. What are you doing with your faith? And I said, well, I was a good person. I mowed the grass for the church. I was there every time the doors were open. I would sit over there. That's where the window was. And I could watch outside the window and look at the birds and squirrels. But I was there. And but God said, no, you need to do more. And so I told my wife, I said, I think we're supposed to be missionary builders. And she said, we're not missionary people. It's just, it's not us. And so I said, well, God, it's the wife. It's her. It's not me. And so through all of this, I told God, I said, I'm willing. And not able, but I'm willing. And so my wife got on board, and she said, it's time for us to go. And so I told her pastor, I said, I think it's what God wants us to do. And he said, that's great. And I got to preach. And I said, what? No. I swing hammers. I break stuff. I fix stuff. He said, no, you can preach. And so I really want to preach the sermon tonight. What are you doing with your faith? Kind of the spin-off of the sermon that I heard that night. And really more, as I was studying through this, and it's really been a lot of my Bible study with the faith that we have to have as Christians, really, especially in light of what we're going through right now. It really kind of made me step back and re-examine, what am I doing with my faith? So let's go open to James 2. James 2, when you found your place, go ahead and stand. James 2, verses 7 and 8 and verse 26. James 2, 17 and 18 and verse 26. The Bible says, even so faith, if it hath not works, is dead, being alone. Yea, a man may say, thou hast faith, and I have works. Show me thy faith without thy works, and I'll show thee my faith by my works. Verse 26. For as the body without the spirit is dead, so faith without works is dead also. Let's pray. Dear Father, we just thank you and praise you for today. We just thank you for who you are. But we just thank you for, Lord, just the crowd that came out tonight. Lord, there's so many people who are so afraid of this coronavirus right now that, Lord, they honestly just didn't come out. Lord, just thank you for just the church that is still keeping the doors open. Lord, there's so many that are closed down right now. But we just ask that you would keep us safe, Lord. Guide my words. Allow me to say exactly what you'd have me to say. In your name we pray. Amen. You may be seated. So, faith with works. First things first, we have to understand this is not a works-based salvation. So many other denominations have lumped works with salvation. There's nothing you can do to earn your salvation. It is strictly a believe, a know-so salvation. And that's an amazing thing to me. Because if you can earn it, you can lose it. Well, if there's nothing I ever did to earn it, how can I lose it? And that's just an amazing thing. But a lot of people don't get that. And that's really not, a lot of people have skewed these passages of Scripture, but it really isn't that. But faith does have an action. Right. You have faith. When I got here, Pastor gave me credit cards. I have faith that there's still available balance on those credit cards. And I have spent some money. And there's been many times. It's like, okay, it's going to be $2,000. Sweet. Oh, it went through. Sweet. I don't know what his limit is, but we are maxing this bad boy out. And I don't know about you guys. We travel very extensively. I get to be home about a week a year. That's usually what I like. I'm more of a trailer body than a home body. I like to be on the road. I like to be in projects. My wife likes to go on vacation every once in a while. I like to find projects around that vacation spot so that I can still work. She can do whatever she's going to do on vacation, and I can still do something else. But we travel, and a lot of times they shut my credit card down, or they shut my debit card down, because they can't follow me from Florida to New York or wherever we are. And it's always Texas. For whatever reason, Texas always tags us. And so we'll be driving along and go to get gas and decline. Just the other day we were using our credit card and buying something at Walmart, and declined us because we don't usually use our credit card. Usually we use our debit cards. And so it declined it. But you know, I have faith every single time I swipe that card. There's going to be money in the account. The credit limit's good enough to where it'll do it. But I have faith in that. And so many times it's let me down. We have faith in our jobs. We have faith that that job's going to be there. And right now with this whole coronavirus, we have no idea. Right. We have faith in the government that they're going to do right by us. And honestly, how many times have they let us down? Yeah. But you know what? You still have faith that our president, and of course all these memes are popping up right now. He's going to give us, they said $1,000 per adult. And everybody's like, that's not my president. And now, man, he's my president. But you know what? We have faith in a man that we put in office. No matter if it was Obama or whether it's the president we currently have. I mean, we've had a lot of knuckleheads as presidents. But you know what? You have faith that they're going to do what they say they're going to do. And so many times they have lied to you, they've let you down. But yet we have faith, and our faith is put into practice. We have faith in the switch is power. We have faith that you can flip the switch and boom, power comes on. Your faith has actions. I know the last church we were in there in Texas, we cut out every single light, just kind of like we're going to be doing here. We went through, cut every light out. I even know when we were in the nursery this week, I don't know if you've been in there, you should go in there, it's a lot brighter. And I cut the lights out. I physically cut the wire, pulled the lights down. They were sitting in a corner, and there were several times I'd walk out and flip the lights off. But they're on the floor. And then I walk back in, and we're using a flashlight. I got a big stand light thing, and it's battery powered. And I know it's on, but it's a little dimmer than normal, so I'd go flip the switch on. But you cut it. But my faith was put into actions. So you have faith in God. You have faith that God's going to save your soul. And so you put it into practice. You put it into action. You came forward, you kneel before the altar, and you cried out to God saying, save my soul. And hopefully everybody here has had that testimony. Amen. But is that where your faith, is that where your actions quit? I know with this whole coronavirus thing, my faith has been tested. Obviously, we live in a fifth wheel. Obviously, we can't hoard a lot of stuff because it's 400 square feet. That's all we got. So we can't have like this big old bunker, whatever. But I found myself just constantly thinking about, okay, do we have enough chicken? Do we have enough toilet paper? I don't know why we're like toilet paper, but you run the shelves and you get there. There's no toilet paper. It's like, do we have enough? My thoughts are going to what the world is saying is important. Sure. My actions don't say, God, you've got this under control. My actions, my thing I'm putting into practice says, God, you don't know what's going on. I've got to figure this out. I can tell you right now, in our ministry, we have broke down. We are very, very, very good at breaking our trucks. For whatever reason, we own Ford, so I don't know if that helps me or hurts me. But I can break a truck like nobody's business. And every time I get in it, get ready to hook up to my trailer, that is constantly in the back of my mind. What happens if this breaks down? Well, you broke down 13 times before. What's the difference? And I can tell you, every single time, God has provided. He has fixed my truck. Amen. I have never, and I can't tell you how many breakdowns, I have never been broken down on the side of the road where I could not get off the interstate under my own power. This thing may be smoking like a freight train, but it gets off the interstate on its own power. That's a huge testimony of God, but every single time I wonder, I remember just this last breakdown, we were coming out of St. Louis, Missouri, pulling some hills, and you could hear the turbo snap. It was just an amazing sound. My wife was Marco Polo and some friends, and we went back and listened to it, and you can hear it in the Polo. It's like the turbos, you can hear it nice and whistling, and then just all kinds of fun noises. But you know what? It got off the interstate under its own power. But you know what? Every single time it cranks up and makes a little whistle, you're like, ooh, what's that? Why is my faith not put into action? I believe that God's going to take care of us. I believe that God is going to provide for each and every one of our needs. And I can tell you time and time and time and time again how just crazy stuff has happened. I mean, crazy stuff. And God's provided. But yet every single time I've got an issue, that's not my go-to. That's not my default. Is to say, okay, God, this is your problem. How are you going to fix this?
Right.
Every single time I've got a problem, every single time something comes up, it's like, okay, how are we going to make this work? How am I going to solve this problem? My default is not relying on God, going to prayer. It's okay, you call this pastor, you call that pastor. It's like, what are we going to do? How are we going to fix this? You know, right now we're getting phone calls like crazy. Pastors still want to schedule projects. I don't know what to tell them. I gave it to God. This morning my wife and I were talking about last night, and I just feel overwhelmed with all the work that we've got coming in, and I don't even know what to tell these people. Yeah. Right. Why did I not give it to God last night? I fretted about it. We worried about it. Why didn't I give it over to God? My faith is not put. And I didn't do what I was preaching. That's even worse. But I didn't give it to God. Look at Genesis 22. Genesis 22. This is an amazing passage of Scripture. Genesis 22. It's a good chunk. We're going to read verses 3 through 14. Genesis 22, 3 through 14. And Abraham arose up early in the morning and saddled his ass and took two of his young men with him and Isaac his son and clave the wood for the burnt offering and rose up and went unto the place of which God hath told him. Then on the third day Abraham lifted up his eyes and saw the place afar off. And Abraham said unto his young men, Abide ye here with the ass, and I and the lad will go yonder and worship and come again unto you. And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it upon Isaac his son. And he took the fire in his hand and a knife, and they went both of them together. And Isaac spake unto Abraham his father and said, My father. He said, Here am I, my son. And he said, Behold the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for a burnt offering? And Abraham said, My son, God will provide himself a lamb for a burnt offering. So they went both of them together, and they came to the place which God had told him of. And Abraham built an altar there, and laid the wood in order, and bound Isaac his son, and laid him on the altar upon the wood. And Abraham stretched forth his hand, and took the knife to slay his son. And the angel of the Lord called unto him out of heaven, and said, Abraham, Abraham. He said, Here am I. He said, Lay not thine hand upon the lad, neither do thou anything unto him. For now I know that thou fearest God, seeing thou hast not withheld thy son, thine only son, from me. Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold behind him a ram caught in a thicket by his horns. And Abraham went and took the ram and offered him up for a burnt offering in the stead of his son. And Abraham called the name of the place Jehovah-Jireh, as it is said to this day, In the mount of the Lord it shall be seen. Man, what a phenomenal faith put into practice passage. I don't know about you, but I know for us, we don't like to go in a situation where we really don't know what we're getting into. I mean, things change a little bit. We've added a little this, a little that. I understand things are going to change just a smidge, but we really like to know the broad scope of the project. We want to know, okay, do you have power, water, sewer? I've got to have a place to hook up a 40-foot fifth wheel. It's not little. A 14-gauge extension cord isn't going to work on our trailers. It's hot in South Alabama. We're going to have to have big boy cords. We're going to suck some major juice. We've got to have water. We've got to have a place to put all of our gray, black stuff for our campers. What are we doing? I mean, are we going to replace all the lights? We want to put the carpet in. I like to know what's going on. I like to know where we're going. I don't really want to just start. Where are we going? Let's just drive towards Texas, and somewhere there's going to be a church that needs us, and we'll just, whatever. No, I don't do that well. Now, my girls, we cannot tell them ahead of time, because if things change, they don't do so well. But I know that's me too. I mean, I want to know the entire, right now we're working on, let's see, we're in 2020. I'm into 2022 right now, our schedule. So that's roughly, almost 2 years of schedule. Things change just a little bit, but I like to know the grand scheme of my schedule.
Right. And
so many times, God's just over here like, okay, this is all you're going to get right here. Darin, you're going to be in Tuscaloosa, Alabama this week. Where are you going next week? I don't know. I'll show you that next week. Don't worry about that. But how many times is that us with God? I mean, you look at Abraham and Isaac. I mean, I look at my girls. They like to know where we're going. They want to know, are there going to be friends there? Is this a big church? They want to know what's going to happen. Are we going to stop on the way? What are we going to eat? How many movies is it going to be? They want to know the important things.
Right.
So you look at Isaac. We're going to go offer sacrifice. So obviously at this point in his life, this is not the first time he's offered a sacrifice. He's kind of seen it done. He's somewhere between 14 and 21. That's kind of the commentaries that I've read about it. And so he kind of knows what's going on, obviously. And so he knows, okay, we got the fire. We got the wood. What are we sticking on the altar? And keep in mind, it had to be a perfect, spotless lamb. So the odds of you finding a perfect, spotless lamb, sheep, whatever they're going to sacrifice in the woods was pretty tough. So normally you would take it with you. And so now they're taking a 2-3 day journey. Got the wood. We got that. We'll go with that. We got the fire. We got that. What we're putting on top, Dad? Would you not question? I know me, I would. I mean, I don't even like driving across the county without knowing what I'm doing. I mean, a lot of times if I go to Lowe's and Home Depot and I'm getting a specific item, I will call them and say, hey, go touch this. Make sure I don't waste my trip. They're going 3 days journey. Got the wood, got the fire. But God, you're going to provide the land. My faith ain't there. Right. I don't think I can do it. I mean, just being transparent. Sure. But they had the faith that got put into practice. That their actions said, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go this way for 2-3 days, and God's going to provide a ram. And they get there. God didn't do it. God, you messed up. I'd have been out. I'm going to be honest with you. I love my daughters. I couldn't time to put them on an altar. But Abraham had the faith and put it into practice. He said, God, if you make me sacrifice my son, you will raise him from the dead. I don't have that faith. But even on the flip side, now you look at Isaac. Isaac there too had to have the faith that God was going to do something amazing and raise himself from the dead because he got on the altar. Yeah. There again, he's somewhere between 14 and 21. His dad is old. There's no way his dad could bind him unwillingly. Isaac had to willingly be bound and put on that altar. Sure. I want you to think about this. How willing are you to even pass out a tract? How willing are you to go tell somebody about Christ? Well, they may make fun of me. And? I get a lot of grief. We're from Alabama. Everybody thinks we're Roll Tide fans. I don't know why. I'm not a sports person either, which way you look at it. But it's amazing how many people will take so much flack for their team.
Yeah, you're right.
You're Alabama. Well, Alabama didn't do so hot this go around. And you know what? People are diehard Alabama fans. You know what? We'll get it next year. You know, I look at like some of the big professional teams, like Cleveland Browns. They've been terrible for years. They just have.
Yeah.
But you know what? You still have them fans.
Yeah.
And they will badmouth, and they will tell you all kind of stuff. But you start talking about Jesus. Whoa.
Yeah.
Don't.
Right.
Or hey, just if you get a second, just read that. Just whatever. If you don't have time, just throw it away. Whatever. I don't care. And that's really a lot of our attitudes.
Yeah.
I know we were in Gainesville just this last project, and we got the privilege of being in an RV park. It was a decent RV park, and so we have a dog. His name is Harvey, and so Harvey has to go to the bathroom all the time. He's like a little kid, constantly girls taking him out, and it was interesting. I would come home. We lived 17 and a half miles from the project, so I commuted back and forth, and so we were working an astronomical amount of hours at that point, and I would talk to my girls when I got home and said, yeah, we gave a track to that person over there. They have a nice puppy, so we gave a track. And then, we gave a track to that camper, and I'm like, I don't know if I like you talking to camper people, because some of them are kind of weird. But they had that desire to hand out. We were out at a restaurant or something, and the girl said, have we got a track from the church yet? And we had, and she's like, well, when did you see a mini track? They had the desire to tell people. Let's look at Matthew 5, 13 through 16. Matthew 5. Matthew 5, 13 through 16. The Bible says, you are the salt of the earth, but the salt hath lost its savor, wherewith shall it be salted? It is thenceforth good for nothing but to be cast out and be trodden under the foot of men. You are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it on a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light to all that are in the house. Verse 16 says, the Bible says, so let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. I want you to really think about this opportunity that we have. We have an opportunity right now with the coronavirus. People are running scared. They truly are. I mean, if you hadn't seen it, go to Walmart, get your mask on, and go in there and just look around. I mean, there's a reason why the toilet paper aisles are completely 100% empty. People are running scared. They're looking for answers. And it's amazing some of the things we've seen on Facebook and popping up. The Bible talks about the time in which we're living. The world is looking for answers. Are you being that light the Bible was talking about? Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. I look at 2000. That was 99 when the World Trade Towers were hit. People flocked to the church house. They were so scared. What's happening? That's really the second time in our nation's history that terrorism was brought to our home turf. And you know what? Christians as a whole dropped the ball. We weren't ready. Most people walked away from that whole incident no better. Because Christians did not let their light so shine. It's amazing. We have two trucks right now. We've got a 2007 F-150 and we've got a 2011. The 2011 is our primary vehicle, and so we get stuck in a lot of these kind of rural towns, and so I don't like not being able to see the deer and squirrels that are running out in front of me, and so I put aftermarket high bay 8,000 lumen, maybe a little illegal, lights on the front end, so I can really see for miles. And it's amazing how a difference those lights are from factory. Now my 07, it's got factory. That is our beater truck. I will put as little money in that truck and just keep running as best as I humanly can. And those lights are terrible. I mean, they're fogged out. You turn them on, you got to have the high beams on just to even see down the road. I want to ask you this question. Are you my daily driver? Are you my 2011 F450? And when I say they're bright, I mean like people high beam me thinking my high beams are on, and then I high beam them and they're blinded by them. I mean, that's what I want. I want to be that high beam. I want to be that flashlight that's got the brand new batteries in it. My daughters love flashlights. And they have a tendency to leave them on, or they shine you in the eyeball with them. And so they get the Harbor Freight specials, the ones that are barely bright enough to do anything. Those are the flashlights they get, because I don't want them in my eyeballs. But like, I want a bright flashlight. We go into attics, I want the brightest flashlight known to man. I mean, I want it to pierce darkness. But so many times, I think of us as Christians, we're that dim light. A lot of times, you don't even know someone's a Christian because their light is so dim. And then you get that oddball, like preacher. He's that like 2,000, 3,000 lumen light. We were playing with the outside lights, me and Pastor the other day. And I bought them. I was praying that they were going to be bright enough. They're like 15,000 lumens or something crazy like that. And we were just in the hallway, and we just stuffed them in the outlet. Oh, they were like melt your cornea bright. I'm like, this is awesome. But I'm telling you right now, that's not the norm as Christians. As Christians, verse 15 really is Christians. Neither do men light a candle, put it on a bushel, but on a candlestick, that it giveth light to all that are in the house. So many Christians today are hiding light. They don't want you to know they're Christians. They don't want you to really, don't find me out. They're playing this hide-and-go-seek game. For what? The Bible says, verse 13, "You are the salt of the earth, but the salt hath lost its savor. Wherewith shall it be salted? It is thenceforth good for nothing but to be cast out and trodden under foot of men." Verse 13 really is an amazing thing. The Bible, the dictionary for savory is morally wholesome or acceptable. Can also mean pleasant and respectable. You are the salt of the earth, but the salt has lost its savor. Wherewith shall be salted? You are the salt of the earth, but the salt hath lost its savor. Savor, morally wholesome or acceptable, can also mean pleasant and respectable. I want you to think about how many churches you've been in. I don't know about you guys, but I've been in a handful of churches in my life. This is our 64th or 65th project that we've been on. We've been in a few churches. I can tell you a lot of churches, they're just not pleasant. It's just not a place you want to be at. Us as Christians, that's where we are a lot of times. We're just not pleasant to be around. But the Bible says, "But the salt hath lost its savor, it is thenceforth good for nothing but to be cast out and trodden under foot of men." Where are you at? Are you truly good for nothing for the cause of Christ? I want you to think of Samson. Samson did more good in his death than in his life.
Yep.
There's going to come a point where the last time you leave a church house is in a casket.
Yep.
Pastors preached a lot of funerals, I'm sure, in his time. When it comes down to it, I want a pastor to preach the sermon truthfully and not have to make up a bunch of lies,
right,
or tell fibs about my life.
Right.
But you look at Samson, he did more good in his death than in his life. Will you do more good in your death, in the sermon that preacher preaches from the behind the pulpit at your funeral? Will that be a greater good than what you've done your entire life? if your faith, this is a saying I found while I was studying this out, it says, if your faith were to be put on trial, your Christianity, what you're all about, if your faith were to be put on trial, is there enough evidence in your life to convict you? You look at a trial, there's evidence. Murder weapon is in his hand, he's bloody, there's fingerprints everywhere, he's on video killing the person, there's evidence. What evidence is there for your faith? Is the evidence the fact that people hear you talking about it? Is the evidence you're on door-to-door visitation? Is the evidence your checkbook, the fact that you're giving to the church? Is the evidence, what is it? People ought to know there's a difference. Ye are the salt of the earth. But if the salt hath lost its savor, wherewith shall it be salted? It is thenceforth good for nothing, but to be cast out and trodden under before the men. Ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it on a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light to all that are in the house. Verse 16, let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. You have faith, and there's going to be works that are with it. You have faith that the pew's going to hold you, so you have faith to sit on it. You didn't check it, you just sat down. You have faith that God's going to save your soul, and so you came forward and put your faith and trust in Him. Is that where your faith ended? Is that where your works that are with your faith ended? Where are your faith tonight? Where are your actions tonight? You have faith that your wife loves you, so you go home every single night and kiss her. There's actions in that. What are your actions for your faith tonight? Let's pray. Dear Father, we just thank you and praise you for who you are, Lord. We just thank you for, we're just a church, Lord, that has faith, Lord, that have actions.